Hi, this is Team 4, and we're going to do our Horizon Report 2017 K through 12 edition. My name is Jennifer Salceda. I'm going to be talking about makerspaces and robotics today.
Hi, I'm Tanya Stevens, and I'll be talking about analytics, technologies, and virtual reality.
Hi, I'm Daniel Reyna, and I'll be talking about artificial intelligence and the Internet of Things.
Okay, so my part is all about makerspaces and robotics. So I'll start with makerspaces. Basically, makerspaces are hands-on, and it's supposed to help kids with like being creative, and they get just a chance to be real hands-on and really explore their creativity. Currently, my experience with that is I've seen that in the library. I haven't been able to experience that personally, but I know our librarian is really big on makerspaces. And unfortunately, I've seen like our gifted kids have those experiences. So what I would like to see is that our more regular kids get those experiences as well, not just kids that are gifted. Robotics is really cool because it's very real world and engaging. Robotics is actually, there was a quote in the article that talked about how much we'll be pursuing robotics, especially like in the military, which I thought was really cool. I know space is really big with robotics. One thing that we get to participate in our school district is, and I don't know if you guys have heard about it, but it's called Starbase, and we get to go to Ellington Field, and they do nothing but STEM activities with our kids. It's really, really a neat experience. And again, that's put on by the military. It's free to our kids. You know, we're a Title I school, so free is always good. But just, you know, getting kids engaged, very hands-on. STEM is super important, you know, with science, technology, engineering, and math. And then getting in that, the arts part too with STEAM, which is repetitive in the Horizon report.
Interesting. I like that, always hands-on, like you said, that free and being able to interact draws their attention so much. So my part was for the analytics technologies. I'm going to admit I did not look forward to reading it because it said the word data. And before, when I was a classroom teacher, data digging was like dread time because it was so not interactive. However, in this report, it's showing how they're trying to make it more interactive. The collection of the data is a little bit easier to do, and then the presentation of it is more interesting for the students. One part that I found interesting was where it said that there's software that captures students' facial expressions and generates students' engagement, their feedback to help teachers understand where students are struggling or where they need more challenge. So once again, that's taken that technology base of looking at their face to determine how, if they're getting it or if they're not getting in that, and then you can change your curriculum, whatever you need to do. To me, that really focuses on that ISTE standards with our students. Number 6. The other one I really liked was about how there is an organization that is focusing on teaching us teachers how to make this data collecting more interesting and how it's going to help us in the future into building our curriculum focus on technology. It also was really funny because it connected it to online dating. So it mentioned how you have these online dating services that takes all your information and your interests and your skills and connects you to your match. Well, that's what they're trying to do for the school students, like in high school, take all their skills and connect them to a college or to a profession that will help them in the future. So interesting information that is going to help us in the future. Virtual reality to me sounds a lot like that makerspace for you, Jennifer, where it's making the connection of real world stuff. Virtual reality to me has taken place in everywhere from video games to actual rides and amusement parks. So that's definitely capturing kids' interest and their attention, basically. In here it says that through VR, schools can transport learners to distant and possible visit locations. We, like yourself, Jennifer, are in Title I school, so we know they don't get to travel much or vacation much. So if we can bring the outside world to them through a virtual view, I think that's going to capture their attention and help them learn more without having to be there and go out. So 2 things I'm really looking forward to through this Horizon report with our data and our virtual reality.
Okay, so again, my section covered the K through 12 Horizon reports. over artificial intelligence and the Internet of Things, which are both predicted to be adopted in education 4 to 5 years from now. So while reading through the topics of AI, which is artificial intelligence, the idea of robots in the classroom making decisions and predictions based on data reports, to me that was kind of scary. It even went to the extent of explaining how robots would be able to adopt racial and gender prejudices from data sets composed of human generated text, which I found that even scarier. So it kind of goes back to like what Tanya was saying about the facial recognition and all that stuff. And I know it's weird now that there's a lot of people that use their laptops and cover up their camera and because they think they're the FBI is spying on them or whatever. So I think as far as like privacy issues, I think that's a concern. And I get that education is moving towards a technology-based environment, but I think that once you start removing the human element of building actual relations with your students, I think that can maybe have a negative impact on learning. And because I know a lot of the success I've had with my art students, it's because of those connections that I make with them, So as far as artificial intelligence and robots and stuff in the classroom, like I'm not sure how I feel about that right now. But again, time will tell. They're saying they're predicting 4 to 5 years from now, so we'll kind of have to wait and see how that goes. In regards to the second topic, the Internet of Things, it talks about objects that are capable of transmitting information across networks. And one stat that I found interesting was that it predicts that by 2021, there will be 27.1 billion internet connected devices, which is 3 times the global population today. So that alone to me is pretty scary. It kind of seems like, it's kind of like taking over the world. They're going to kind of outnumber them. So it also talks about devices that will be mainstream, again, in education 4 to 5 years from now. And it talks about how as administrators, we need to prepare ourselves and plan for like cyber attacks and stuff. And it gives some examples of some universities in California where there were some flyers that contain like hate speech. They were like being printed out and distributed throughout all the campuses, by unknown users, right? So it just kind of started doing that on their own and never found out what it was. So stuff like that's pretty scary. I think it's stuff that we need to kind of prepare ourselves for. But it wasn't, I don't want to sound negative and like it was bad, but there were some good ideas that can benefit both students and parents. And I think one was actually implemented here in Texas. I think it was like in Huntsville ISD where they outfitted school buses with Wi-Fi networks, which allowed students to, like work on their homework while they were in transit to and from school, which I thought was pretty cool and that can be beneficial for the students. And then it also, within that app or whatever, they integrated like a GPS tracking device where it allowed parents to track where their child was, like while they were on the school bus, which is, to me, it's beneficial for the parents, So overall, I like some of the ideas, in the topics, but I think my main concern is losing that human component, of building relationships with our students.
Totally agree with that. Yeah.
I agree with that too. I was going to say that that's a big part of motivating kids is building that relationship, especially with middle school kids and your high school kids. That's a really huge to build that trust and get them to, trust you, and then they thrive on that, I feel. I mean, especially with the motivation piece. I was going to just mention the ISTE standard that kind of stood out for me with all of this was the global collaborator, because I feel like in our mission statement, we actually have to become a global learner. I mean, obviously that's where this is all headed. Yes. But I do agree with you, Daniel, on keeping that human component. I think it's very important that we don't lose sight of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think like one of the, another benefit that I kind of seen from all the ones that we were talking about is, and you were, Jennifer, talking about like, school vision and their mission now, where art is getting students college, career, and world ready, which I think that's what they're going for. I think, teaching the kids the technology, getting them used to it, I think it's going to prepare them for the real world experiences. But I think us as educators, especially for us, I've been teaching for a long time, it's a bit scary, but I think it's something that we just not kind of need to get used to it and properly,
embrace. Like we need to embrace it, change and and be proactive with it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so well, thank you for watching our video, and please feel free to leave comments below. Thank you.
Thank you.
you.